Welcome back to Jacques in the Garden. Today we are talking about pepper plants, specifically how to get peppers to produce more and faster in the early spring months where it's still a little bit cool, the soil hasn't quite heated up. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about how to plant peppers, how to space peppers, how to heat up the soil for free, and also how to protect peppers from cold wind. So we got a lot to talk about, but first we got to grab the peppers and we got to prep the bed that we're going to be planting in. So let's get into it by grabbing the pepper starts first. We're coming into the greenhouse to grab the peppers, but I might as well give you guys a little update on how everything is growing. Over here we have the strawberry greenstalk tower, and it's looking real healthy. Got a berry there. I think I've so far ate like 6 or 7 berries, and we're barely into the season for strawberries. So pretty stoked about that. The cherry tomato over here has lost most of its leaves because it did get hit with powdery mildew. Air circulation in the greenhouse is a challenging thing. Now I do have this fan here, but it's pretty directional over to there. It doesn't stir the air as much as I thought it would. So I might be looking into another option here for the fan, but it is at least making my seedlings strong. So the early girl tomato, on the other hand, is quite the monster. So it's all the way up to the ceiling. I have some ripening clusters on the way, so that's really exciting. The cucumber is very slow, very, very slow start here on this guy, but it is starting to produce a couple cucumbers. The goal is for this guy to climb up that string and hit the roof, but I think we're gonna be waiting quite a while on that guy. Beyond that, all the tropicals in here are looking good, or semi-tropicals, I should say. Here's the mango and its mango flower. So there's a lot of little mangoes forming. We'll see how many I end up leaving to stick, probably only like a half dozen max. But yeah, everything's going quite well. I also have a tomato here in a 15-gallon grow bag. This is an orange tomato that's supposedly more compact. It's called Harvest Moon. So we'll see how that does. I've got the Texas tomato cage on it, which should hopefully be enough to support it. Once it reaches the top there, realistically, it'll probably be diseased enough that I'm gonna just get rid of it. So here are the eggplants in question. There are some aphids on it, but I don't know. That's just kind of weird. I've never had aphids on my seedlings like this, but I attribute it again probably to the greenhouse. I'm still learning how to grow in a greenhouse. But here are the peppers. These are the guys we came in here for. Like I said, they look really fantastic. They're quite tall. They have a lot of nice growth on them. The leaves look really happy and healthy. So let's go ahead and get these guys planted. So this is the bed where we will be planting peppers. Now, an interesting thing about this bed is, first of all, I already started. I have a pair right there, a pair right there. And we'll talk about the pair system in a second here. But I also have some leftover peppers that I've just left in ground that have been overwintered. So I did pull one of them to check the roots to see if there's any root.nematode. There was none, so I'm very happy about that. But basically I have a couple old peppers here that I'm going to be working around. They already exist, they're in the ground, they're growing, and actually this one is already producing. So there's no point in removing these peppers that are already productive. All we need to do is figure out how to best plant the rest of this bed and actually rebuild it, because actually it's a sloppy mess right now. You can't really distinguish where the bed starts, where it ends, and where everything else is. So let's do a little bit of organizing first, and then we'll go ahead and start planting these wonderful, beautiful pepper plants. The first thing I'm gonna do here is grab my trusty rake and pull all the mulch away from the bed. This is the first year now, or it's been 1 year now, I should say, that I've had wood chips in my garden over here instead of straw. In the past, when I had straw, it didn't matter what I did because I could bury the straw, it won't affect my plants in any way. But now that I have this wood chip mass, I want to actually make sure I define it away from my beds. So first thing I'm going to do is walk around, push all the mulch to the side, then we'll move on to the next step. For this process, I actually think it's easier to stand on the opposite side and then push the mulch away, especially when you don't have that much space to work with. So all we're going to do again is just push all this stuff off to the side so it's nice and far away. So there we go. We have raked all that material away. It's much more defined now where this bed is. The next thing I'm going to do is actually finally remove this ridiculous broccolini plant. I keep trying to get it to go forever, and it's time to just walk away. This plant has provided more than I ever thought it could for me, and at this point, I'm ready to just give it to the chickens who absolutely love eating a bolted brassica plant like this. So what I'm going to do here is just try to break these branches first, try to twist this out of the ground to leave as many roots as I can. That's actually not too bad. A couple of the big feeder roots came out, but the majority of the small roots are left into the soil. So now we could go deliver this to the chickens who are gonna be absolutely thrilled. There you go. Your favorite treat in the world, a nice, fresh, bolted broccoli plant. So here's the basic premise of how I'm planting my peppers this year. In most ways, it's similar, but in one way, it's actually new. So the way that I'm planting these is these peppers are 6 inches apart. They're two of the exact same variety. This is known as peppers holding hands, at least that's how I've heard other people say it, because they could basically touch each other, and that's how close you want to put them. The reason why you want to do this is twofold. First of all, these are the same variety, so now they can help cross-pollinate each other. This should overall increase the yield of the peppers. Now, in theory, of course, you don't need 2 peppers in order for them to pollinate, but having multiples is just going to increase your pollination chances. The other thing that's nice about this is that they are going to help shade each other. So as they're growing and setting fruit, this pepper will shade that pepper, that one will shade that one, and they'll kind of be able to tangle into each other, which makes them a little bit more sturdy. So that's how I'm planting each pair 6 inches apart. But then from one pepper plant to the next, I'm going 18 inches. So this right here, this is a broken ruler, but it's actually 18 inches across. So if I go stem to stem right here, you'll see that this is just at 18 inches across from that pair of peppers to this one. Now the one that's overwintered over here is also 18 inches. It's actually a little bit closer, but it's a single pepper, so I don't expect it to bush out as much. So that's the basic premise. 2 peppers 6 inches apart, and each pair is going to zigzag down this bed at roughly 18 inches apart. Now after I plant these peppers, I'm going to do a couple more things to actually help increase the heat of this bed so that these peppers can thrive in the early spring when it's not that hot yet, especially the soil hasn't quite heated up yet. So I'll show you a couple tips, but first, let's see how many peppers we could fit in this bed. We have the 18-inch ruler here, and I'm going to lay it down just like so, and then we're gonna set our next pair of peppers in. So over here, I have 2 different peppers. One is the New Mex Lemon Jalapeno, that's from Botanical Interest. It makes a yellow jalapeno. I'm actually really excited. I had a couple of these last year. They were very tasty, a little bit citrusy on the taste there, which was really wonderful in a nice spicy pepper. Now, if you have pepper plants, or any plants really, I should say actually, in a cell, even though I could push these from the bottom, there's still a little bit of resistance from the roots. So what I like to do is just give that a nice little tap. Just like that. Tap every side. You don't really have to, but it's just gonna make this slide out much easier. And it's just going to do less damage to your plant roots. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop both of these out, and we'll plant the other 2. That's a Mojo Ahi, these 2. That's a new pepper for me this year. And let's go ahead and set this down right there. So this is very close to my snapdragons, but this is blooming right now, and I feel really bad getting rid of it, so I'm not going to. That's basically what it comes down to. So I'm gonna put one right there, then I'm gonna take my ruler here and do a 6-inch spacing. So right there. I'm gonna offset it just like that. So there we go, about 6 inches apart. Now these peppers can hold hands. So I'm gonna take my little transplanter here, make a hole, pop that in, just like that. So this bed we are going to be treating in a no-dig or low-till, whatever you wanna call it, fashion. They all technically mean something different, but I'm not too worried about the exact terminology here. So this one's gonna go right there, like so. Press it right into the soil. You want really good contact with the soil. And there we go. So now I have 2 New Mex Lemon Jalapenos right here. And we can move on to the next pair, 18 inches diagonal from this one. The last 2 peppers I put right here are Nassau Cubanelle peppers. These are frying peppers that I'm looking forward to eating. This is the first time I've grown these ones in particular. Next up are Anaheim peppers. These are the New Mex Joe E. Parker Anaheim peppers, also from Botanical Interest. It's also a new one to me. I'm growing a lot of new peppers actually this year. A lot of these varieties are ones that I've heard of before, but just haven't gotten around to trying. So I'm very excited to try all these different peppers this year, and we'll see how they do. Now I'm going in with 2 Laisa peppers. These are Ukrainian peppers, considered to be one of the sweetest peppers in the world. So we'll see. Last year, apparently I let them grow a little bit too long, and they taste a little bit sweeter, or they taste most sweet if you harvest them earlier than when I did. So we'll see how they are this year. I like them enough to grow them again because they have very thick walls. I love thick-walled peppers because there's just more that you can do with them. It doesn't just disappear when you cook it, basically. Now on this side, I have a Chileano pepper. There's only one, but I actually have one that survived from my seed starting campaign. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, this is the paired pepper for this guy over here. Down here at the end, I'm going to be putting in a pair of candy cane peppers. These are the ones that are variegated, both on the plant and the pepper itself. Now that we have the peppers in the ground, we have to get the soil heated up a little bit faster so we really get off to the races nice and early. Now there is the synthetic way to do it, which is to use black plastic. I obviously am not going to do that. I've never really done that, but you know, whatever. If it works for you, it works for you. The reason why it works is because it's black. That black color is going to trap the heat of the sun much more effectively, and it's not going to actually reflect it. It's going to simply capture it beneath and act like a little greenhouse on the soil. So what we're going to do instead though is use compost. Now I have mentioned in my last soil testing experiment video that I'm trying to get away from using manure-based compost. So what I have instead here is a pile of my very own homemade compost that I sifted on a quarter mesh to remove any grubs or any big chunks of stuff that isn't broken down. But take a look at the color of this. This is what we're talking about. This is very dark. It's basically near black, it's brownish black, and this is going to heat up very quickly compared to something that is covered in straw. So I love straw. I absolutely love straw mulch for things like my tomatoes here because I don't want the diseases to splash up on the leaves. But for peppers, I find that that's not really that big of a deal. And I'll show you what I mean by the straw being a problem here. The problem with straw is that it's a very reflective material. It's basically a light color. It's also very shiny in nature. So right there, you can see that one hanging off to the side here. It's reflecting away a lot of the sun's heat. What that does is it actually cools the soil temperature underneath. It also literally acts as a barrier to the soil, so the soil temperature can now not be higher because it's covered by this blanket that's trapping all the heat above it and not letting it down through to the soil. So this soil is going to be a lot cooler, for example, than the soil over here that's been exposed to the sun. This actually feels warm to the touch. Now, I don't want to leave bare soil on the surface because that's going to cause other problems. And also I have all this nice broken down straw, which is a great source of organic matter, something I really want in my bed. So what we're going to do instead is actually bury the straw completely in the compost. All I'm going to do now is take my transfer shovel here. Let me get a little less so it's easier to control, and simply sprinkle it over the top of all of the straw. Now, if I run out, I'll go sift some more. I'll show you guys what that looks like, but I don't want it to be perfect. I'm gonna finish spreading it out by hand, a little bit more labor intensive, but we're in the garden because we love working with our hands in the garden, right? So a little bit of labor and handwork never really stopped any gardener before. Certainly not gonna stop me today. So let's go ahead, get this spread out as best we can with the shovel, and then we'll do some cleanup with our hands. One thing I should have probably done is wet the straw first. That would have helped it mat down a lot easier, because now what's happening is as I'm spreading the compost over the straw is coming up with it, just because it's not down in a single layer. Now, I'm not too worried about a little bit of straw on the surface. As long as the majority of this is nice dark compost, we should be good. So we don't actually need a crazy amount of compost, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this with my small sieve, just because it's a little bit easier. It's a little less cumbersome at this moment. All I'm going to do is take a couple scoops, just like this, then I'll show you what I'm working with. We have our black plastic cement mixing tub here, and a simple sieve that I built in the past. This is actually a 1/4 inch hardware cloth on it. All I'm gonna do is shake back and forth. And now any of this big chunky stuff that's left over, I'm gonna go ahead and put into my active compost bin on the right here. And then any of these grubs, which there are plenty of in the compost, I probably will just throw them back into the compost, or we could give them to the chickens because the chickens absolutely love destroying these guys. There are the grubs, gross, but they do a lot of good work for me here. So I'll go ahead and grab a couple sifts of compost here, and I'll meet you back by the peppers. So as I apply this compost, I want to mention one more thing that I kind of forgot to mention, which is that compost can become hydrophobic if it's too dry. What that means is that when you water it, the water will just bead off, run off away from the bed instead of through it. So the important distinction here though for me is that I am covering drip lines here. So all of this is drip irrigation. And so the drip irrigation will still work underneath the compost, provide water to the pepper plants. Now, once it heats up a little bit, maybe in a month or maybe even 2 months, I will go back and mulch this bed to trap water better. But for now, in this early season, my main goal is to get as much heat as I possibly can into this pepper bed. The nice thing is that I am burying the straw underneath. That will act like a sponge of sorts to trap some of the water here. So I'm not being like super water inefficient, but it is something that is worth talking about. Basically, any plant that really loves the heat early on, these are things like cucumbers, peppers, eggplant, for example. Those are the main ones that I would think of. Maybe even something like a melon. At the beginning, they really thrive on heat. Okra as well, actually. So if you mulch them too early in the season, simply not going to be warm enough for those plants to thrive. So a couple of things really quick. Mulch is extremely important because it traps water, it helps build organic matter. But here I am saving the mulch, it's just simply underneath the compost. There's also drip lines that's buried underneath the compost. So any water that I add by irrigation is going to simply go into the soil and not be lost to evaporation. Now, compost is also a pretty decent mulch. The only problem, like I mentioned earlier, is that it can go hydrophobic. So that's really the only downside, is using it as a mulch over something like straw. But it's a very dark color. It will trap water, it will trap heat very well, and this should get my peppers off to an early start for the season. So the only other water I'm adding is the hose on top of this, just to settle everything in. But after this point, everything's going to be drip irrigation, which you saw, that's buried underneath the compost. So it should be quite efficient. So here is the after the compost has been spread and I've watered it in. You could see just how dark the soil is compared to the peppers and the mulch next to it over there. So this is exactly what we're going for here. A nice ultra dark bed that's going to just simply trap all the heat from the sun. Now there's one more thing I'm going to do, which is stop cold wind from chilling down these peppers, which they absolutely hate. They hate cold wind, so let me show you what I'm doing next. Quick geography of my garden. That way is west, that way is east. Cold coastal winds come in from this side. The sun rises over there. The heat comes in at an angle right into this bed, and we want to trap all that morning heat as much as we can, and we want to block the cold coastal winds as much as we can. Now this little beautiful poppy here, I think it's a Milkado poppy. I'll have to look for the exact variety if you guys want to know, but it's such a wonderful color. That's going to provide a nice wind block over here. So I'm going to start a second setup here for wind blocking. And all this is something very simple. This is just burlap. This is burlap fabric. You could get it at pretty much any landscaping place because it's used all the time for erosion control. But here I'm using it as a little wind barrier. So all I'm going to do is put a bamboo stake. Very simple, very cheap setup here. And every so often, I'll put up another bamboo stake. Now, how you attach the actual fabric to this is up to you. Over there, I have a binder clip, but I could also use twine, which I'll show you in just a moment here. So all I'm going to do is take a piece of twine like this, pull up my burlap till it's about the height I want, just barely above the peppers essentially. Then I'm going to take a knife here, poke a hole in the burlap, take my twine, run it through that hole I just made, and then we're going to just tie a knot to this bamboo stake, and that should do plenty good of a job here. So once you have your string going through the burlap hole there, all you're going to do now is simply tie it to your stake. You probably want to tie it pretty tight so it doesn't slide down your stake either. And just like that, we have a nice wind barrier. I have to tie up the last section here, but this is going to do a massive job of blocking that cold wind from coming in from the coastline. The nice thing is that you could always adjust it if you want it a little bit taller. That's not a problem. But this is also going to trap that morning sun that comes in and hits this. It's going to create a little heat island, especially with this super dark compost on top. And these peppers should be off to a great start. I can't wait to get peppers this year. Let me know if this was useful to you guys. We didn't get quite to the eggplants, but we got through a pretty good amount of peppers here. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time.